Hello friends, hey, just wanted to give an update on my N-scale train set. Control panel is about 85% done now. It's really starting to come together. Pretty happy with it. So I thought I'd just give a quick editorial on it. Did it in 3 different phases. The first phase was just basically building the box and the board. The board is a whiteboard that I found and cut it down to the size that I want and framed it and then installed it. Then I used automobile pinstriping to lay out my blue as mainline 1, red as mainline 2, and then just use some black stripe on the outside to kind of give a perimeter of everything. The first phase, after the board and the box was all built, installed, then I started working on switches, and power control switches was the first part of this, and I've designated them in yellow. Zoom in just a little bit here so you can see a little better. The yellow ones are my power distribution for the different tracks. I run the old DC system, so I have a dual control power pack, and so I have a cab 1 and a cab 2. And so the yellow ones do that. They switch it either for cab 1 or cab 2. Essentially I can drive my train anywhere on the layout and stay on one controller. I don't have to switch back and forth, which is kind of what my goal was. So that's what the yellow ones do. And then the third phase that I'm into is getting the switches to actually work. And my train set has the Atlas code 80. I can't remember the part number, but it's just a regular switch machine that's mounted on the side of the track. I guess I can zoom over here. We'll take a real quick flyby here. So these are just the old Atlas switches, pretty basic. Everybody's seen them before. Of course, if I was really wanting to be fancy, I'd step up and buy the turtle switches. That'd be nice, but that's not in the budget right now. So we're where we are, making do. So for the switching of the switches, it's an on-off on momentary switch, and so it always returns back to off, which is the center position, which is what you want it to do. And then we've hooked up LEDs, or I've hooked up the LEDs. Green is where the switch is now thrown to, so the train can go that direction, or throw it the other direction, it goes back the other way. And then of course you got to turn the power on to those different areas. But I kind of wanted to go in a little bit more detail about how the locking relay works. So let me put this board lid down and kind of see how it all falls into the board itself, the layout. And so showing people, it took me a while to understand this latching relay, and so I thought I'd maybe help somebody else out that's maybe doing the same thing I've done in trying to get a way to have your Atlas switches work with lights, because they don't work the way they're designed with lights. So I've discovered there's 2 ways to control this. This is what I opted for, and the part number is the FRT3-SL2, and it's on the left hand side of the screen there on the paper. This is the actual device, and then I've soldered telephone wires onto the lugs, but you can put it in a I don't know if it's called a saddle or a cradle, but then this would go into a board, and so then you can just push the latching relay switch actually into the back of this, and this part, the legs would be actually soldered into the board. I didn't see it being that important, so I just soldered them right to the lugs, and you had to be careful because of the heat of the soldering iron, but it wasn't too bad. So, and then Atlas makes what they call a snap relay, and this is the snap relay, and this is part number 200. They also have one that it comes out, it's underboard switching, so you're probably familiar with that one as well. But both these items do the same thing. You can see there's a big difference in size, so size was part of my problem. So that was the reason why I went with the latching switches. But then price, the relays, the latching relays, the white one, is about half the price of the Atlas switch, which was, it works for my budget. So this is how we went. So I want to kind of explain how this works. And so I made a rough diagram of what the pins look like on the back of this latching relay, and they're not numbered per se, but they're numbered on the schematics on the diagram if you download one of them. And so pin 1 and 2 are the negative line, and if you can imagine drawing a center line down the middle of this latching relay, you've actually got 2 systems. The first system affects the second system, but you have a power supply for the first system as well as a power supply for the second system. So in in the way I wired this, 1 and 2 are negative, so I wired them together and ran them to the negative feed. And then leg number 15 and leg number 16 are the positive input, and this is from your switch. This is from my momentary switch. So as I turn the switch either left or right, then I'm either applying power to 15 or 16, and so that takes this side of the latching relay. It actually 13 is the common positive in, so this is always powered. That gives me either a red or a green light all the time. And then whether I'm giving power to leg 16 or leg 15, then 13 will either connect with 11 or 9 to bring power back out. And I went with I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's a 3-legged LED. I went with red and green, obviously you just saw that. So the center is a common cathode, and so number 9 and number 11 go to either side of this leg of the LED. And as you're wiring this up and you find out that you've got power to 11 and that's your green side or your red side, really doesn't matter. But if you find out that you're backwards on your colors of where you want according to your board, then you just switch either 9 and 11, or you can switch 15 and 16. Either way, it gives you the same results. And then I'm only using half of the lugs available, and so this goes to LEDs to my board, and then 8, 6, and 4 would be I can go out to my signal blocks, and I haven't got that far in my budget, so we're going to wait a little while on that. But it's nice to have it. All I got to do is just solder wires onto 8, 6, and 4, and then what I do here at 15 and 16 will also affect 4 would be your common power, the same as 13 is, and then 6 and 8 would either be energized based on what happens with 15 and 16. So this was a learning experience for me, and I thought it might be helpful to other people that are maybe trying to do what I've done. And so hopefully this gives some ideas for people out there. I'll put my email on this one, so if you have questions I can email you back or whatever. But hope this helps, and you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.